All right, so right now we're currently waiting. Hey, what's up, Mad Max 408? Buenos dias. So right now we're waiting for this event to start. It should be starting in hopefully they normally start it at 9 a.m. East Coast time. So I'm hoping they start it up soon. I'm setting up everything in the background. I actually wasn't supposed to be going live, but hey, Amstar, how's it going? I wasn't supposed to be going live right now, but it did. So here we are now. I'm just setting some things up in the background. And hopefully I didn't close that window that I need. So today we're gonna be watching some early termination hearings. And we'll see where the day takes us to. Oh, there it is. It's starting up. Let me know if you guys could hear. I think they got the audio on mute right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my volume was low. So I can't hear anything yet. It's because they have their audio off.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. David Colella, inmate number 392834. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Amber Rodriguez.
Mr. Colella's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Colella is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 10 years for illegal possession of child pornography first degree. The term of special parole began on July 17, 2020, and end on July 16, 2030. The panel will now deliberate and make their final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri, your thoughts?
So I do not have Mr. Colella moving to early termination today. He just recently finished treatment in 2024, May of this year. He does have 10 years that he's still on sex offender registry for. He has done well. He is working. He did, as I stated earlier, complete treatment, completed GPS. He was successful at the Chrysalis Center. However, because he's only been out of treatment for 4 months, I think it's best if he were to remain on supervision for at least the next year to see how it does.
I would add that we have objection from the victim. I'm just wondering, I did not find a discharge summary for his participation in improper sexual behavior, and that was a concern to me.
I'm concerned.
Was that anything that you looked at or found?
You know, I don't have a notation of it. Okay, I don't have a notation of it.
Okay. I had a question about whether he was, so interactions indicated that as recently as February, he's still accessing pornography while he was in treatment. So I think that was probably, it was adult pornography, but I think it was a concern in violation of the agreement for treatment. And apparently he admitted to accessing pornography the entire time that he's been on supervision. Again, adult.
I have no objection.
Okay. So in the matter of David Colella, inmate number 392834, there's a motion to deny early termination of the special parole supervision. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think.
This concludes the termination review for Mr. Colella, inmate number 398025.
Yep. They were, if I understood that correctly, they denied him, right?
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Ramon Antonio Cruz, inmate number 107460. Board members to be stated name for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Rodriguez.
Mr. Cruz's case being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Cruz is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 10 years for 2 counts of sexual assault first.
Oh,
The
another
term
one.
of special parole began on November 25th, 2016, and ends on November 24th, 2026. The panel will now deliberate and make their final decisions on its grant or deny termination.
So Mr. Cruz is living in a rental at Open Hearth, having been at Open Hearth in other capacities since 2018. He is on, the last I could determine, residential level of supervision. He is working full-time at the Urban Lodge Brewing and has been for 1 year now. He is engaged in mental health treatment, but remains participating in problem sexual behavior treatment. He has served almost 8 years of his 10 years of special parole. And due to the fact that he remains in treatment, my vote is to deny early termination.
Are you great?
Okay, so in the matter of Ramon Cruz, inmate number 107460, there's a motion to deny early termination of his special parole. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
This concludes the termination review for Mr. Cruz, inmate number 107460. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Romel Dayanin, inmate number 424779. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Mr. Dayanin's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Dayanin is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 15 years for 2 counts of sexual assault seconds. The term of special parole began on February 7th, 2023, and ends on February 5th, 2038. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Since 2023, it has stated special parole to 2038. That's only been since for a year, 8 months or so. Currently, as an ICE detainer here. That's what I was supposed to go on this week. Yeah, I'm so excited with the results. But he's currently detained. Had a job working with Taylor and Fern, Windsor, Connecticut. Still attending. I'm having a little issue with this guy. It's a short detainer. I haven't read. Still going to CTPSB.
Yes, he's in phase 2.
Yeah.
Hasn't finished.
He hasn't finished yet, so I am a denial today.
I would also like to put on the record that we did hear victim input, which opposes early termination. And he is reporting at the maximum level, which is per policy for the first 6 months before it can be dropped to medium. So I would essentially like to offset Mr. Dayanin from reapplying for early termination by 5 years to the year 2029. Any objections?
No, I don't have any objections. Any reason why you think 5 years?
He's got some matters pending. He has a 15-year period. And this would ensure that we're not putting the victim through this again, and that he gets through the end of treatment before he's considered.
I don't object. I do think 5 years, I can all hope it won't take him 5 years to get to treatment. And I'm sure that his INS detainer will be resolved prior to that. But I appreciate the comments that in 5 years seems okay.
So in the matter of Ronell Dianon, inmate number 424779, there's a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision and offset his application to reapply to the year 2029. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
This concludes the termination review for Mr. Dayman, inmate number 424779. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Victor Diaz, inmate number 405482. Board members, please state your name for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Mr. Diaz's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Diaz is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 10 years for illegal sexual contact. The term of special parole began on July 8, 2022 and ends on July 6, 2032. The panel will now deliberate and make their final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri.
So I do not have Mr. Diaz voting for early termination today. He has only been out in the community for a few short years. He is on minimum supervision and has been since 2023. He has completed problem sexual behavior treatment. It looks like in December 2023. He also was found credible in a maintenance lie detector test. He is employed and has been since 2022. He does have support in the community. He's currently self-sponsored and has been living on his own since January 2023. However, we have two letters submitted for today's hearing from the victims opposing early termination. I think that he would benefit from, maybe benefit from a little longer on supervision.
So as you pointed out, he's done about 2 years of his 10 years of special parole. Incredibly serious offenses, causing great harm to a very young victim. The crime included some grooming in order to perpetrate against the child. I would also like to see Mr. Diaz's reapplication offset by at least 3 years.
I would agree. That would put him at about a 50% mark up to 10 years of special parole.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so in the matter of Victor Diaz, inmate number 405482, there's a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision and offset his ability to reapply for consideration to the year 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
This concludes the termination review for Mr. Diaz, inmate number 405482. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Matthew Tavicki, inmate number 330205. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Panel member Rodriguez.
Mr. Tavicki's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Dubicki is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 6 years for Robert II. The term of special parole began on June 17, 2022, and ends on June 15, 2021. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
So Mr. DeBicky has been demonstrating some stability out in the community. He's maintained the same home, living with his mother since April of 2022. He works full-time as a mechanic, and he has maintained employment with the same company since June of 2023, so just over a year now. He is on minimum reporting, and that has been the case since 2022. He has done just 6 years of 2 years of his 6 years of special parole, and he just got off GPS monitoring in June of this year. So I'm a little conflicted in this case. I'd like to see another year under his belt, finishing up half of the special parole, but I could consider granting if my colleagues thought that this was a solid case.
I do have Mr. Dubicki granted early termination today. I didn't go back, look at his prior criminal record. It is minimal. It's not an extensive criminal history. He has done well. I also note that he has had negative drug screens. I do appreciate, though, your comment that he has just recently completed his GPS monitoring. But as you pointed out, Madam Chair, he has been on minimum supervision since his release from incarceration and has demonstrated stability through employment, his living situation. And less than GPS, I have from 2022 to 2024, which I think it is, if to complete it successfully, I think it's a credit to him. It can be.
Absolutely, and I mean that last year on it, he was in this new position as with this employer. You know, I appreciate you pointing out the negative drug screens because, you know, the robbery at the Chinese restaurant was fueled by his heroin use. So it does appear that he's on the right path. Your thoughts, Mr.
I would also agree that he's on the right path. He's completed shift 4. That's only had 3 part of the website that I saw. I would agree.
So in the matter of Matthew DeBicky, inmate number 330205, there's a motion to grant early termination of this special parole supervision. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations.
This concludes the termination hearing for Mr. Dubicki, inmate number 330205. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is the special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Jordan Edwards, inmate number 307244. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Found number review.
Mr. Edwards' case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Edwards is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 8 years for 2 counts of possession with intent to sell. The term of special parole began on July 16, 2021 and ends on July 16, 2029. The panel will now deliberate and make their final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Your thoughts, Mr.
I had Mr. Edwards deny, and what you would like them to say, I am denied. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 misconducts. He had a revocation of parole in 2020. He still has, he's done 4 years, he still has 5 years left on his special parole. He is working, he is working, and he continues in therapy at this point. As of April, he continues in therapy. His own visits have been normal, they've been positive interactions. But I think I should have at least another year. Yeah, and remain stable.
So, I have Mr. Edwards having completed 3 years of his 8 years of special parole. He was just reduced to minimum in April. The misconducts that you referred to, I think it's important to point out, were drug related, which resulted in a referral to AIC, which he completed a year ago this month. He added a 6th child to his family this year. And I have notations that I'm very unclear about what his employment status actually is
I have his 2 years.
between the reports and the interactions. So I think continued supervision is warranted.
He's also on dual supervision, right? He's also on probation.
Yeah, that's correct. That's my notation. I feel as though I was able to drill down that he has 2 part-time jobs and he's attending Three Rivers Community College. But I also have him denied today. Primarily for the violations and misconducts of positive drug tests. In that he was only recently placed on minimum supervision.
Yes. I have that he's still working at Chili's on the weekends, but that the PCA job he left in August of last year, that was in the interactions. So perhaps in the next application, we could get more definitive information about his employment status and history. Okay, so in the matter of Jordan Edward, number 307244, there's a motion to deny parole at this time, early termination of his 8 years of special parole. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This will be termination for Mr. Edwards, inmate number 307244. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Benjamin Ellis, inmate number 284656. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Sarah Smith, Palmieri.
Alan Rodriguez.
Mr. Ellis' case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Ellis is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 11.5 years for sales of certain illegal drugs and sale of hallucinogenic narcotic. The term of special parole began on June 17, 2022 and ends on December 15, 2033. The panel will now deliberate, make their final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri. So I do have Mr. Ellis voted for early termination today. He has shown stability in the community through his living situation. He was a self-sponsor from 2021 to recently 2024 when he moved in with a friend. I have him employed at Hartford Healthcare since 2021. I have him in the community since 2018, even though he's only been on special parole since 2022. He was out released to community release prior to that. Could satisfy the conditions for treatment in 2022. He would have much by way of difficulties in the community at this point. So I did have him showing a path of rehabilitation, stability in the community, employment, and as I said earlier, and I did not say, he has been on annual supervision since 2022 as well. So I did find him suitable for early termination today.
Just by way of clarification, I did drill down into the name that was listed as his friend, and it's actually someone who rents rooms. And so that's the relationship. So he's still living independently. And it's appears to be a stable situation for him since November of 2021. The thing that stood out for me with Mr. Ellis is that he's 47 years old and he's works in the janitorial capacity, but not full time. And I kind of thought that was kind of curious that he would be choosing full-time employment or supplementing with a second job. But and his risk score at moderate high had me a little concerned as well, given the nature of selling and using that often to supplement one's lifestyle. So, your thoughts, Mr. Rodriguez?
I would agree.
With what?
But with both of you on this, I think he's shown some stability and unresolved at this point. I also had a question about the part-time work at too bad a full-time job. But other than that, it's like prevention. We're completing without prevention. That I've already done. Was referred for some evaluation. We've done the work. I find it to be pretty stable at this point.
He's only done 2 years of the 11 and a half special parole, but we no longer see special parole being imposed for drug offenses. So in the matter of Benjamin Ellis, inmate number 284656, there's a motion to terminate special parole early. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
He was granted.
He was granted. Okay.
This concludes termination review for Mr. Ellis, inmate number 284656.
I only ask because I haven't stated an opinion on the record.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to me. I didn't look at the pay stub and see how many hours he was working, but very often they'll keep people just below 40 hours. So they don't have to give
Right.
benefits. And so they consider it part-time, but I did not look at his hours.
I mean, I even went,
There wasn't much.
I even went.
My name is Parole Officer Martinez, dates Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination being conducted for Mr. David Fountain, inmate number 271312. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Eleanor Rodriguez.
Mr. Fountain's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Fountain is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 8 years for accessory to sale of hallucinogenic narcotic and sale of hallucinogenic narcotic. The term of special parole began on April 9, 2021, then ends on April 9, 2020. If I'm not deliberating, make the final decision on whether to grant or deny termination.
So Mr. Fountain has served about 3.5 of his 8 years of special parole, again, for drug offenses. He's on and has been on minimum reporting to parole since December of 2023, so almost a year. He self-sponsors in his residence, and he's been there since November of last year, and appears to be working full-time, self-employed, holds an auction license, and runs a tinting business out of Car Doctor in Rockfall, Connecticut. So I have Mr. Fountain. I have some reservations because he does score out high for his risk score, and we don't, and that sets off some red flags, but I do have him granted. Mr. Rodriguez?
I had him denied. He had violations in February for GPS, routine drug screen in 1023, another one in 1023. Negative, I mean, positive drug screens.
I only had, his last was May of 2023. You're having something more recent?
I had 1023.
I had May 2023. I have them with the GPS violation of misconduct in February. However, he did finish GPS, and it was for a shutdown.
Right.
And not that I'm negating the seriousness of those types of offenses, but he did seem to get back on track and was able to be terminated from that the following month. And he did do Rushford. He was there for 2 years. And he, as Ms. Turner pointed out, he has been on minimum close to a year now. So I also had him granted for today.
And this, under statute, our decisions must be unanimous in order to terminate supervision. So what would your vote be in this case, Mr. Rodriguez? You want to deny?
Based on the information I have, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. So there is a motion in the matter of David Fountain III, inmate number 271312, to grant early termination of his special parole. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And due to the fact that by statute, our decisions must be unanimous in order to terminate supervision, Mr. Fountain's supervision will remain in place.
This concludes the termination for Mr. Fountain, inmate number 271312. To fill out the summary today. Today is Wednesday, September 15th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Jonathan Gonzalez, inmate number 347028. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Sarah Rodriguez.
Mr. Gonzalez's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Gonzalez is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 15 years for sexual assault second and illegal sexual contact. The term of special parole began on May 12, 2022 and ending on May 10, 2037. The panel will now deliberate and make your final decision on grant or deny termination.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have Mr. Gonzalez denied comment 7/2023 for computer access agreement not follow. Also communicating explicit sexual photos and conversing with females in a chat room. So at this point, I have denied it. Also, risk level was moderate to high. Only the special parole is only done 1 year and 4 months. At this point, I have Gonzalez denied.
He is on minimum supervision, but that started in January of this year. And I have an indication that he failed a credibility exam in September this month, 2024. So I also have him denied.
I am denied as well.
Okay, and I would like to offset Mr. Gonzalez by 5 years.
I would agree.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay.
In the matter of Jonathan Gonzalez, inmate number 347028, there is a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision and offset his ability to reapply for consideration to the year 2029. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
This concludes termination review for Mr. Gonzalez, inmate number 3470. Morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Fernando Hernandez, inmate number 276955. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner. Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Adam Rodriguez.
Mr. Hernandez is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Hernandez only served a period of special parole supervision of 5 years for risk of injury to a child. Term of special parole began on May 20th, 2022, and ends on May 19th, 2027. The panel will now deliberate and make a final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. So, Mr. Hernandez is on special parole for some very serious charges that basically involve child abuse. He was sentenced in 2018. He has been out, according to my notes, since November 2018 on community release prior to beginning his term of special parole. So he's been out in the community almost 6 years. He's had a few misconducts. Most recently was a GPS shutdown, February 2024. He has completed the required programs through Parole and Community Service Supervision to include domestic violence, mental health, and he did complete the GPS program in March 2024. He's been employed with the same company since June 2020, has a CDL as well. Currently lives at the same address now since February 2022, where he self-sponsors and lives with one of his children. For the record, I have a note that there are protective orders in place until 2099. Mr. Hernandez is doing well in the community. But I had not made a final decision about the early termination. The protective orders are a concern for me. However, I do look that he has completed 2 years and 4 months of special parole, and then, as I said previously, he's been in the community now for almost 6 years. With a few misconducts, police contact in 2022, a blood test in 2022, but that was over 2 years ago at this point. So, but I hear from my colleague.
So, in reading the descriptions of the risk of injury, he was perpetrating intimate partner violence. The children were witness to it and actually intervened in order to protect the victim. And I think that's what resulted in the protective orders in place involving his then wife and all of their children. And I also have an indication that those protective orders are in place until 2099. Now, in the PSI, the victim went on to say that the oldest child would be 18 when the offender gets out, so would be able to navigate visitation with the younger children. I need some clarification that there's been some modification to the protective orders in this case to feel comfortable terminating the special parole early, because that's concerning information if those relationships have resumed and those protective orders are still in place, or would like to know whether or not they are. So I have him denied.
Or the level of the protective order.
Right.
There's a
Right.
full
If
no
it's
contact,
exactly.
partial protective order.
Right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Perhaps that would be helpful
To
when
know.
he comes back, when he's eligible again.
Okay. So in the matter of Fernando Hernandez, inmate number 276955, there's a motion to deny early termination of special parole supervision. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's not. Thank you. Hernandez, number 2769. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is the parole termination review being conducted for Mr. E. Will Johnson, inmate number 319446. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner. Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Johnson's case is being reviewed for consideration of parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Johnson is currently serving a sentence of 15 years, execution suspended after 10 years with 5 years probation. It's a conflict of benefits to a child and includes the person. Period of discretionary parole began on January 28, 2022 and ends on July 28, 2026. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Okay. So since being granted discretionary parole, Mr. Johnson has been living with his mother in Bridgeport and is currently employed in a grocery store as a meat or deli clerk. He was put on annual reporting just last month. The victim in this case was his own child, and the extent of the injuries were disturbing and very concerning. There is an indication that there is still a valid standing criminal protective order in place through the year 2028, which would go beyond the end of his discretionary parole period into the probation period for Mr. Johnson. I do not have him granted early termination due to the concerns over the seriousness of the offense, the recent level of reduction in his supervision, the existence of the standing criminal protective order, and the information in the parole report application that indicates he's going to seek reunification with his son. I think that matter of the protective order needs to be addressed before I feel comfortable. So your thoughts?
I also had an issue with protective order, Madam Chair. It was also a denial at this point.
Ms. Palmieri?
This is it's a very serious case, as you pointed out, Ms. Turner. He does have 5 years of probation to follow also, so he has some dual supervision, and that would continue beyond an early termination today. He has presented well in the community in terms of stability. He has support. He's been working. He's been, as you said, on annual for the last 10 months, and he was on minimum prior to that for a couple of years. He was out on discretionary parole, or I just spoke. He is on discretionary parole. Is my point. I did have him granted and going to probation, but I do appreciate the concerns presented today. I do think the protective order would also be addressed through judicial and probation.
And just for the record, the reference to the standing criminal protective orders on the minimus. So in the motion of Errol, in the matter of Errol Johnson, inmate number 319446, there's a motion to deny early termination of his parole supervision. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
I was reading, sorry.
So motion carries and Mr. Johnson will remain on supervision. Yeah, and did you,
Termination for Mr. Johnson, inmate number 226-335. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Kevin Lindsay, inmate number 09288. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Adam Rodriguez.
Mr. Lindsay's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Lindsay is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 6 years for assault first. Determined special parole began on February 7, 2022, and ends on February 6, 2022. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Mr. Lindsay is 63 years old. Has 6 years of special parole, as stated earlier, is a moderate risk. Has served his 2 years of his special parole time at this point. A very serious charge. The assault first charge is a very serious offense. Currently is, a stable residence, living with someone, with his niece. Is not employed with unemployment record, although he is on disability collecting SSI at this point. Was referred to the recovery network in May, took anger management and completed it in 2022. Standard reporting was very positive. All of his reports were very positive in the interactions. I have him granted today. I did have, the only one question I did have was around his history. He had a very lengthy history, prior history that wasn't reflected in some place until you looked. In any case, I do have him granted. So I'm in minimum supervision every 3 months. He started out in minimum supervision out of the halfway house. So I do have him granted today.
In Mr. Lindsay's case, I think the fact that he's applied for elderly public housing and last month was seeking a letter for the housing authority. In June, he was number 12 on the apartment wait list. So hopefully that will come through for him as his family that has been supportive of him is intending to move out of state.
I had him granted as well. I gave a lot of credence to the parole officer's letter to the housing authority as being in good standing and his age.
So in the matter of Kevin Lindsay, there's an inmate number 09288. There's a motion to grant early termination of his special parole supervision. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
This complete termination of Mr. Lindsay, inmate number 09288. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Eddie Lynch, inmate number 248667. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Panel member Rodriguez.
Mr. Lynch's case is being reviewed for consideration of parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Lynch is currently serving a sentence of 7 years for stealing a firearm, criminal possession of a firearm, and possession with intent. The period of discretionary parole began on August 29, 2022, and ends on September 16, 2025. The panel will now deliberate and make your final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Lynch is serving a flat sentence, so he's on discretionary parole. My notes indicate that he's been in the community since May 2022, so approximately 2 years and 4 months for theft of a firearm and sale. He's moderate level for risk. He had been going to employment or school for truck driving at NITS. The notes indicate that he left that to care for his elderly mother. He lives with his sister. He has satisfied many of the conditions that were required by parole, which was GPS, Project Safe Neighborhood, Project Longevity. Other than the misconduct for moving in 2024, I didn't see any other problems with his supervision. The parole officer is recommending the early termination, so I would be in favor of granting it today.
Okay. I have Mr. Lynch denied. There's been a lot of housing instability as recently as this year. He was with his sister, she kicked him out, then he was with a girlfriend who kicked him out, then he went back to his sister's. He is working as an Uber driver, awaiting SSDI. At least that's according to the interaction notes going back to February. And it looks like he might be caring for his mother and getting paid for that. It was rather unclear. He is still on the state's deadly weapon offender registry for very serious offenses involving a firearm. So I had him denied. Your thoughts?
I had him granted, Chair. There's no positive toxicology reports. He had, I experienced earlier. I attended Project Safe Neighborhood, also Project Longevity.
That's what you said. Mhm.
Yeah, I had, for those reasons, I had granted.
Okay. So in the matter of Eddie Lynch, inmate number 248667, there is a motion to grant early termination of his parole supervision. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Due to the fact by statute, this decision to terminate early must be unanimous. Mr. Lynch's supervision will remain in place.
Name is for launch for yes, today, so September 18th, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Antonio Melrose, inmate number 277612. Board members, please state your names correctly.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Adam Rodriguez.
Mr. Melrose's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-120. Mr. Melrose currently served a period of special parole supervision of 7 years for 3 counts of burglary first. The term of special parole began on December 15, 2021 and ends on December 13, 2022. Panel will now deliberate and make their final decision whether it's grant or deny termination.
So Mr. Melrose is 41 years old and is on medium supervision. That was effective August of this year. He has 8 misconducts, the most recent of which was in February for the use of K2. He's living in supportive housing since November of last year and is addressing his mental health needs in New Haven. He was accepted into treatment in March of this year. He has more than half of his special parole remaining, and I would like to see continued supportive supervision while Mr. Melrose achieves some stability and continues to address his underlying needs, both substance abuse and mental health. Your thoughts?
I have a two, Madam Chair. He's continuing treatment now. I think that's a very positive thing. And it appears that even after this, he will probably continue in treatment, as was reported by the parole officer as well. But I too think he needs a little bit more time.
I have concerns of the, the problematic nature of engaging in illegal substance use while addressing one's mental health needs and being in care for that. I think, it's somewhat self-sabotaging.
Yes, it is. I would agree with all that's been said.
I would like to offset Mr. Melrose just by 2 years, get more of his special parole sentence completed before he comes back for consideration. You okay with that?
Okay with that.
Okay, so in the matter of Antonio Melrose, inmate number 277612, there is a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision and offset his ability to reapply to the year 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
This concludes the public hearing. 277-612. My name is Pearl Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Robert Moore, inmate number 3192. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner?
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Amber Rodriguez.
Mr. Moore's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Moore comes from a period of special parole supervision of 13 years for contempt birth. Term of special parole being on November 7, 2014 and ended on March 31, 2025. Anyone want to deliberate and make a final decision wanting to be advised?
Mr. Rodriguez?
Madam Chair, I had Mr. Ford denied today. I mean, just reading this case, just for me, just crazy. Just rearrest in this case. I mean, he's arrested in 2022. Although he's on 9 years on his special parole, during that time, he's had rearrest. He's had violations. I just could not find myself to grant more early termination today, and I realize he's off in 2025. I just could not. Serious offense is very, very serious, even though he rates his risk level is low.
I also have him denied. I did not find my indications are that he's still in treatment for problem sexual behavior. If that in fact concluded, we don't have a final report on that. And there was, appears to be an error in the Parole and Community Services report because by review indicates that he was reduced to minimum supervision in June of 2023, having been on medium in August of 2022.
Yeah, I also had him on minimum supervision, but I also had Mr. Moore denied. He has struggled throughout supervision. And although I have a note to myself that he seems to manage to be employed and he's living with his father, I think he would benefit. And for public safety reasons, so I think it's beneficial for him to remain on special parole.
I agree. So in the matter of Robert Moore, inmate number 319288, there is a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Morning, my name is Pearl Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is a special parole termination review being conducted for Mr. Luis Munoz, inmate number 207700. Board members, please state your name for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Amber Rodriguez.
Mr. Munoz's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Munoz currently serving special parole supervision for 5 years for possession of intent to sell. Term of special parole began on September 3rd, 2021, and ends on September 2nd, 2026. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri.
So, Mr. Muniz, my review of the file has shown stability in the community. He's been employed now at the same company since September 2022. He's self-sponsored since May 2023. He's been on minimum supervision since July 2023. He has about 2 years remaining on that special parole term. He satisfied what was required from Parole and Community Services by finishing his GPS in 2022, meeting with Project Safe Neighborhood, which also ended in March 2022, and his drug screens have been negative. So I did have him granted an early discharge today.
I would add to what you're saying that he was also sentenced to the state's deadly weapon offender registry, though that's not part of his special parole sentence. And that is a 5-year commitment. So regardless of what happens today, he still has 2 years ahead of him on the deadly weapon offender registry. Your thoughts, Mr.
I have
Rodriguez?
also granted as well.
Okay. So in the matter of Luis Munez, inmate number 207700, there's a motion to grant early termination of his special parole supervision. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Will you make notation about the registry and the written decision, since we know it goes out? It's just an important reminder that everything doesn't go away with the special parole.
I have a notation of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Parole Officer Martinez, today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is a parole termination application for Mr. Angel Rivera. Inmate number 141005. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Rivera's case is being reviewed for consideration of parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Rivera is currently serving a sentence of 4 years for 2 counts of possession with intent to sell and violation of probation with underlying offense, possession with intent to sell. The period of discretionary parole began on February 8, 2023, and ends on September 30th, 2024. The panel will now deliberate, make the final decision on the grant for tonight's termination.
Okay. So in the matter of Angel Rivera, we are talking a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
And he's been participating in CCAR, has had 0 misconducts, self-sponsors in New Britain, though that is relatively new, March of this year, which is also when he secured Social Security disability benefits. And he had a period of stability when he was initially released, living with his brother, and has been on minimum supervision since December. So I have him granted.
I am granted as well.
I'm granted. Well,
In the matter of Angel Rivera, inmate number 141005, there is a motion to terminate his parole supervision early. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rivera.
Morning, my name is Parole Officer Martinez. Today is Wednesday, September 19th, 2024. This is a special parole termination being conducted for Mr. Antoine Watson, inmate number 336205. Board members, please state your name for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Watson's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Watson is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 15 years for 3 counts of sexual assault first and illegal sexual contact. The term of special parole began on May 14, 2021 and ends on May 13, 2036. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny something.
Officer Martinez,
Yes.
would you, while we're deliberating, double check for me? I believe the sexual assault first 3 counts is what carries the 15 years of special parole, not the illegal sexual contact. So in this matter, Mr. Rodriguez, your thoughts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Watson is 40 years old. This is a very serious sexual assault against a 13-year-old cousin. Went on. He says he's done a third of his special parole in 5 years. Currently living in, with a wife and 2 daughters, older daughters, adult daughters. I have adult daughters.
Yes. So I just have him having done 3 years of special parole,
I haven't done this 5.
3.5. He came out in May of 2021, or started special parole in May of 2020. That's okay.
Although I haven't voted to parole in April 2019. So yes, he's only been on special parole, but he has been in the community.
Thank you for that
Oh.
clarification.
Extra time. So I just mentioned because maybe that's where your numbers are skewed.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Hey, he's working as a personal care manager at a car wash since 2022. He was referred for health evaluation, but was denied because he needed treatment. He was referred to CTPSB, Connecticut problem sexual behavior, as a parole condition, and he completed that in 2020. He was denied before. It was a previous denial with an objection from the state's attorney, but I didn't see an objection in the records this time.
And that's pretty standard.
Yeah. I believe he could use a little bit more time at this point. As I say, he's only done, it has been clarified, 3 years, it's 15 years. So at this point, I'm a denial.
I am as well. He is on minimum supervision and showing some stability. The crimes perpetrated against this child were deeply concerning, and so I have him denied, and I would actually like to offset him to the year 2029, since it is a 15-year period of special parole supervision that was warranted by the nature of the offense.
I am also a denial for a lot of the reasons we said. I do want to point out that he has, by my notes, been out of treatment for 4 years and 4 months. He's been on minimum supervision since 2020. I just don't think we need to offset it 5 years. I could see offsetting it maybe 3 years.
3 years.
I do know that I do appreciate that he has a long period of special parole, but he is doing well in the community. And I believe that in 3 years, with no incidents,
That would be
continuing
almost 7 years.
employment and stability is with his wife and his 2 daughters, that he may present, continue to present positive and be eligible at that time. Even on a static 99, he scored low.
Scored low.
And he's low risk. So I'd like to bring him back sooner than 5 years.
He does have a lifetime on the sex offender registry that will not be impacted by any decision that the board makes. So I would be amenable to an offset to the year 2027.
27.
So in the matter of Antoine Watson, inmate number 336205, there's a motion to deny early termination of his special parole supervision at this time and offset his reapplication for early termination to the year 2027. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
It's the 15 years is for the 3 months.
Thank you.
Illegal sexual contact with.
Okay.
That's how it's stated in the recommendation.
Was there a specific sentence for the illegal sexual contact?
10 years of permanent sentence.
Okay. And the special parole applies to all of it. The sex assault first 3 counts. The sexual assault 3rd degree.
No, sexual. If 3 counts of sexual assault.
Is what the special parole applies to.
Correct. And at the mid, specifically states that it's also concurrent. The risk, the illegal sexual contact is concurrent. The sentence says on other terms. which is for the recounts.
Wouldn't that have been the 10,
Stop first.
which was 15 years to serve? Thank you. Home stretch.
Parole Officer Martinez, today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is the special parole termination being conducted for Mr. Dion Wilson, inmate number. Board members, please state your name.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Wilson's case being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Mr. Wilson is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 6 years for larceny first. The term of special parole began on July 28, 2023, and ends on July 26, 2020. The panel will now deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
Ms. Palmieri.
So I do have Mr. Wilson granted for early termination today for the following reasons. He has been in the community for 2 years and 4 months without, well, he has an unaccountability in 2022 at the halfway house, but that was even prior to
Special parole.
special parole. Thank you. He's living with his girlfriend and their child for 1 year and 10 months now, since December 2022. He's had the same manufacturing job since May 2023. And I also have a note that prior to that, he had a couple of part-time jobs. So he has maintained employment in the community. He completed mental health treatment. He completed anger management treatment. He has had negative drug tests. There's a recommendation from the parole officer, supervision officer, that he's a good candidate for early termination. And I also made a note after going back and looking at the DIS that he was identified as high risk of criminal attitudes and behavior and criminal behaviors. And from what I read throughout the file, it looks like those risks have been addressed, and he seems to be doing well in the community.
Yes, he also took reasoning and rehabilitation, which
Thank
I
you.
think might have addressed some of that. And I would add that he's been on minimum supervision since January of 2023. Okay. So in the matter of Dion Wilson, who I understand it also goes by Dulaine Jordan Faust, there is a motion to terminate inmate number 408379. There is a motion to terminate early the special parole sentence. In his case, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Wilson.
Parole Officer Martinez, today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024. This is the special parole termination being conducted for Mr. Alfie Womack, inmate number 15608. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Womack's case is being reviewed for consideration of special parole termination in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 54-129. Womack is currently serving a period of special parole supervision of 6 years for assault second. The term of special parole began on March 29, 2022, and ends on March 27, 2028. They don't want to deliberate and make the final decision whether to grant or deny termination.
I have Mr. Womack granted early termination. He has been on minimum supervision since March of 2022 and is employed full-time as a counselor for the Home of the Braves, or Home for the Brave, since April of 2023. He is self-sponsoring to his own residence in Bridgeport since May of 2023 and completed treatment in 2022. So he appears to be stable, doing well, and giving back in his community.
There's nothing to add, Madam
Rodriguez?
Chair.
I agree.
Okay, so in the matter of Algie Womack, inmate number 156309, there's a motion to terminate special parole supervision early. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So Wednesday, September 18th.
Have I completely screwed up